What's up guys, Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique. Today I want to talk about what is biofeedback. A little bit of neck beard, a little bit of shiner still going. What's up y'all, what's up y'all? So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Looking forward to this weekend being in, I think we're going to South Carolina for the Boulder Clash. So it should be a good time. Looking forward to seeing, the seminar and obviously the pros and everybody competing to be out there. So should be an exciting trip. Gonna be driving up with old Paulie Paul. So always a good time hanging out with Paul. Always learning a lot, trying to take everything in, being the best coach we can. And being the best coach you can, I think, means paying attention sometimes to what we call biofeedback. So what is biofeedback? Well, the main way that I like to explain it is it is a biological feedback loop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So essentially it's what we like to call listening to your body. I don't know why I'm air quoting, but I'm air quoting. So it's listening to your body. So it is a physiological outcome, typically for stress response that we see in the body. And so biofeedback can be something as simple as inflammation, stress response, high blood pressure, tense muscles. All these sorts of things would qualify as biofeedback. It's the way that your body responds to the stimulus or an external stimulus, sometimes maybe an internal stimulus, right? But we want to make sure that we are in fact paying attention to that, or simply put, listening to our bodies, okay? Inflammation, probably a really big one. And typically we'll see inflammation from hard training sessions, hard cardio sessions, lack of sleep, lack of stress management, those sorts of things. And for a lot of you, you say, hey, I'm really frustrated. I'm seeing a bump in the scale. Maybe we had extra sodium, maybe we had a training session where we're holding extra water or inflammation, and then we start stressing out. And so the scale's not moving. Maybe your pictures are looking a little bit better. Maybe your waist measurement or some of your measurements are looking a bit better, but we're stuck on the scale, right? So we're stressing out, which is making that biofeedback worse, or can make that biofeedback worse, right? So remember, inflammation can be stress response as well. Cortisol can be put up. We can hold more water through that. And maybe sometimes if we're not paying attention to our biofeedback, we become frustrated, right? We don't see why that number on the scale isn't moving, that all-encompassing fucking number on the scale. It's not moving. So getting away from, having the scale be our only determinant of progress, so yes, that's important, but also understanding why sometimes that doesn't move can also be really important in terms of keeping us just successful over the long term, right? So sometimes if you're having issues with the scale, helping to control some of that stress biofeedback can be done by looking at things like measurements, or, which I always recommend for all my athletes, using the average weight for the week. Don't use your day-to-day weight because there can be normal fluctuations, and that's a normal thing. But use the average for the week so that we see everything as a whole. We're either trending down, up, or not moving at all, right? And understanding that we have to manage those to make sure that we continue making progress. But I digress on weight. Paying attention to our biofeedback is important for a lot of different reasons. So not only for weight, but also for all of our training and life stuff, right? Now, during prep, you're going to have biofeedback, right? Stress levels are going to be way high up. We're doing a lot of cardio. We're training hard. We're not eating a lot. We're not fueling the body what it needs to sufficiently do all the things that it needs to do. We're in a deficit, yes. And when we get really lean, things like hormones start acting up and doing funky shit, and that makes it hard too, and so that increases that stress response. So during prep, yes, we're going to be moody. We're going to have hard time sleeping some nights, maybe most nights, right? We're going to get woken up to pee. We're going to start peeing all the time. you know? So these are normal things that happen with prep. And yes, it's biofeedback, and yes, it's stress response, but those are things that, you know, they're part of the process. However, say we're not in prep, we're just in a dieting phase, right? If we're having a lot of issues with stress, if we're having a lot of issues with sleep, recovery, that's biofeedback we want to listen to. If we're in a building phase and, you know, we're just, you know, sleep's poor, training's going poorly, like that's biofeedback that maybe we're due for a deload. Maybe we've just been overreaching for a little bit too long. We need to deload, we need to drop the volume, and we need to allow you some time to recover. Remember, biofeedback, very important. That can help save us from an injury. Yes, absolutely, 100% can help save us from an injury. So understanding that there's a time to push, there's a time to pull back, right? So just like psychologically in a diet, there's a time to push and a time to pull back, and not always that we get to pull back during preps because we have a hard date set, but we want to make sure that we're open and available to those things and paying attention to them. So maybe we're in prep, maybe we have a lot of that biofeedback going on, but we have a date to make, we have a show, it's important to us, we want to make it. Maybe there's some other things that we can do to help with some of that biofeedback to help get us through. One of the big things I really fucking love is core hard. It's KSM 66, it's ashwagandha, but it helps so much in terms of cortisol. So what I can tell you that I've seen, and this is something that I recommend to a lot of people, obviously do all of your homework first, but better stress levels, right? They're not as moody and pissy and shitty to everybody around them. Yours included. Better sleep. Better sleep also leads to better recovery, which leads to better training, okay? And those are big ones right then and there. Mood state, your personal relationships, obviously that's super important to make sure that we're paying attention to, but the other stuff helps to make that mood state better, I think. So when we look at some of those things, if we don't necessarily have the option to say, okay, well, let's take, you know, fucking a million diet breaks over this thing. But we have a deadline to make. Utilizing things like core hard can be very, very beneficial to help sort of deal with some of that biofeedback that we're getting during the dieting process, okay? But biofeedback, end of the day, it's just simply your body's reaction, right? It is the biological feedback from what we're doing. So remember that it's very important to pay attention to it. Mainly for me, especially with training, making sure that we're listening to our body to prevent injury. It helps us to stay healthy. There's nothing wrong if we have to drop our working weights for a set. There's nothing wrong if like something gets kind of funky and we stop doing it for the day, right? Those are the smart choices that we can make. Listening to our body, understanding that we're gonna have good days and we're gonna have bad days and we're gonna have absolute shit days sometimes is very, very important. Especially when we're dieting and we're, you know, in a prep and we're going hard, we're lean, our leverages have changed, we don't recover the same, like there's just a million different things. So paying attention to your biofeedback, listening to your body can be very, very important. So we'll leave it there, guys. Biofeedback simply explained. Hopefully that helps, and I will talk to y'all soon.